Thank you for joining us here tonight. Tonight I'll be your host and we'll be talking about everything there is to know about the Unit 1 Human Body in Motion. Today's lesson will be focusing on Area of Study 1 Key Knowledge Point 13, which looks at the actual and perceived benefits and potential harms of illegal substances and the methods to enhance performance in the musculoskeletal system. This special bulletin will also look at key skills number 9, investigate, evaluate, and critically analyse a range of performance-enhancing practices from a physiological perspective. Okay, sorry, that was just me being silly. So if you're listening to this and you've got your textbooks in front of you, it might help if you open your textbook open to chapter 5, which begins on page 90. Okay, so first up I'd like you to look at performance enhancements. So if you can imagine a big umbrella, and there's two subheadings that come under that umbrella. Left side we've got legal, right side we've got illegal, then underneath both those we've got substances and methods. Alright, so we'll start with the legal methods of our umbrella of performance enhancements. So one of the major ones would be altitude training. This is a common practice whereby athletes train at high altitudes to increase their myoglobin levels. So potentially they have the ability to intake more oxygen during exercise. Okay, so next we have resistance training, which is also used to increase muscle size, mass, and fuel stores, and it also increases bone density and strength. This in turn will increase the athlete's capacity to produce greater strength and power acquired in their chosen sport. Okay, so the next one is compression garments. These garments are used to aid the speed of recovery, and this happens by increasing blood flow, and so that helps aid the removal of waste. So they're back on their feet in no time. Okay, so now there's also specialised training equipment, which is catered specifically for your sport. So you might hear that and go, oh, that's a bit of a no-brainer. So now we're going to move on to legal substances. So we've just covered methods, now we're on to legal substances. Okay, so caffeine is a legal substance and it's a stimulant. Okay, so next is creatine. When it's ingested, it has the ability to increase the regeneration of ATP in the muscle cells. Okay, next we have bicarbonate, which aids the disposal of excess hydrogen ions that are produced during anaerobic glycolysis. Therefore, it helps to regulate the acidity in the muscles. Many athletes use this as a recovery method. Okay, so then we have good old vitamins and mineral supplements. Sometimes they may be required to prevent or treat dietary deficiencies in some athletes and to maintain optimal health. Okay, so that concludes our legal methods and substances. So now we're going to move on to illegal methods. Some athletes have developed this win-at-all-cost attitude, which has created the demand of new and undiscovered methods of substances. Okay, so the bad stuff. Blood doping. So blood doping involves injecting extra blood into the athlete prior to an event, therefore increasing oxygen uptake. Okay, so this is really bad news for the heart because it's put under a great deal of pressure with the excess amount of blood injected, so sometimes this can lead to heart attack or even death. Okay, so next we have the intravenous infusion. So it's used to speed up the rehydration process. Okay, so next up we have sample tapering. So this involves urine being manipulated, urine samples, to indicate a different or skewed results. Although ASADA and WADA have now introduced strict new observation of samples, the number of sample tampering has since been reduced. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a long list of illegal substances. Okay, so I've broken them up into subheadings. So our first one is used to reduce pain, which is common in athletes when they're competing with an injury. So they might turn to narcotics, cortisone, or local anesthetic to mask that pain. And the next one would be to mask drug use. So they've already used an illegal or banned substance and then they're wanting to mask the use of that drug. So they use things like diuretics, epitestosterone, plasma expanders, and secretion inhibitors. So they've done the wrong thing and then they're trying to mask that they've done the wrong thing by doing another wrong thing. Okay, the next one is increasing oxygen delivery. So we have EPO, which helps increase hemoglobin levels. And we have artificial oxygen carriers. These are substances that act on the blood to improve performance when doing aerobic activity. For example, if you're competing in a marathon or triathlon. Okay, so the next illegal substances helps to build muscle and bone. So you can't just take these and then your muscle and bone is built. You actually have to train. So the first one is anabolic steroids, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. So they are synthetically produced drugs that mimic the effective hormone testosterone. In the long run, they have proven to be very dangerous. Okay, so we then have beta 2 agents, human growth hormones, and insulin. Now, all of these substances will improve muscle mass to a point where it's completely unnatural. These drugs are sometimes used by bodybuilders to increase the muscle mass. These substances alter the hormone patterns and can cause detrimental physiological and psychological side effects. Okay, so then you have drugs that will reduce your weight. So athletes like jockeys, gymnasts, boxers, and divers will benefit these, and they're most commonly diuretics. Okay, so we mentioned earlier that caffeine was a legal stimulant. Now we're going to look at illegal stimulants. So we have amphetamines and cocaine. So athletes use these to continue training beyond their normal limits. If they're feeling a bit fatigued, they may take this drug and then they're able to put in extra intense effort. Next we have relaxants. So we have beta blockers. You might see these used by clay shooters or in archery. So we also have alcohol and cannabis under that category. Okay, so just a quick summary. So remember our umbrella of performance enhancements. On our left side we have legal. So substances will be nutritional supplements, and methods, altitude training. And our right side, our illegal side, we have substances such as EPO and stimulants and masking agents. And our methods, we have blood doping. Alright guys, in preparation for our ASADA face-to-face guest speaker next lesson, I need a couple of things. Number one, I'd like you to bring your consent form. Okay, secondly, ASADA has a wonderful website where you can enroll in an online anti-doping course. The course provides you with an opportunity to develop your knowledge of anti-doping. So this e-learning course is riddled with excellent resources that I think are beneficial, has scenarios, insightful videos from leading athletes and experts in the field. So I'd like you to pay particular attention to some of the scenarios. We'll be covering them in class. As for assessment in the ASADA site, it's not graded, it's purely to test your knowledge and identify any gaps in the content that I may need to revisit. As homework, I'd like you to complete level 1 of the anti-doping course before your next class. I've emailed you all the link and I've provided further instruction. Okay, so I'll see you guys next lesson at the ASADA presentation. Remember to meet in the Performing Arts Centre. Thanks heaps guys and enjoy your night.